Hello and welcome to the Tuesday, July 15th, 2025 edition of the SANS Internet Storm Center's Stormcast. My name is Johannes Ulrich, and this episode brought to you by the SANS.edu certificate program in cybersecurity leadership is recorded in Washington, D.C. Well, if you are running one of our honeypots and sending us logs, which I hope many of you are doing, you may have noticed a delay in imports of these logs over the weekend. This was in part caused by, an unintentional self-inflicted denial of service. We were playing with a new version of the honeypot, and, myself and Jesse were running it and causing a lot of additional logs. But this also triggered Jesse to look a little bit at the log volume of his honeypots. He's running about half a dozen of them across time. And we have seen in the past where honeypots sort of on a particular day or so all of a sudden get a big surge in logs. This is often caused by one particular IP address essentially running a vulnerability scan against a particular honeypot. What Jesse saw was something a little bit different. Over the last couple of weeks, the log volume across all of his honeypots has increased substantially, sort of by an order of magnitude. Actually, when he plotted it sort of as number of logs, events over time, the prior part of the graph pretty much looked like zero, like nothing was there. What is also interesting here is that this attack appears to be caused by IP addresses that only scan a very small number of URLs, and these URLs are related to the sonicwall vulnerability. Looks like there is some kind of botnet that infected these sonicwall systems and is now very aggressively scanning for additional vulnerable systems. I hope they sort of got what there is as far as vulnerable systems exists out there, but definitely double check your sonic walls, make sure you're patched. Other than that, I don't think that this particular botnet at this point is causing much additional damage, as they probably have reached sort of saturation way long ago, like a few weeks ago or so. I would expect within a day or so that this botnet probably reached saturation. And yeah, definitely need to look at it globally. Haven't had a chance the last couple of weeks to do much as far as data analysis goes, but have to see if this is an effect that all of our sensors see or just a specific subset of our sensor. And Idan Daridman with Koi Security did publish a blog post describing a campaign of compromised browser extensions that they are calling a red direction. What's interesting about this is not only that, like, the more popular extension was part of this campaign, a color picker, color changer extension was installed by 2.3 million users, but also that this extension has been around for quite a while. Now, it wasn't malicious for the entire time it existed. It started out as a well-respected, non-malicious extension, but the malicious part was only installed later. However, with users, of course, automatically updating extensions, they then also received the malicious version as it was published. This extension will essentially monitor your browsing habits, do reports back things like URLs and such that you may visit, and also has the ability to redirect you to other sites and basically control your browser. The problem with extensions in general is that, yes, they do have access to the entire content, the entire DOM in your browser. In this particular case, it probably also wasn't suspicious if the extension asked for that permission, as you wanted it to interact with the web page, to change, select colors and the like. There was also like an emoji keyboard, I believe, that was vulnerable, and a couple of other fairly benign extensions that worked perfectly fine, but then received this malicious update. As far as defenses against this, of course, if you are affected by any of these extensions, immediately uninstall it. Be aware of the possible damages happened by data being exfiltrated, but you really must control the number of extensions that you install, in particular if they do have wide access to your browser, which most of them have, and think about whether it's worthwhile having an extension that may change styles, fonts a little bit, and whether it's worth the risk of potentially affecting yourself with the latest spyware and malware. And then we have a great blog post by SANS instructor Matthias Fuchs, who is going over how to reconstruct RDP activity. RDP is one of the big ways how attackers these days are entering corporate networks. Sadly, it's still often exposed. Matthias is in detail going over different Windows event IDs that you may be seeing, and also down to how you're using the RDP cache, which contains little 60 by 4 by 64 pixel snippets of the screenshots during the RDP activity, how to reassemble them to basically get a better idea about what happened during a particular event like this. So great resource for any incident responders or forensicators. Well, and this is it for today. So thanks for listening, and talk to you again tomorrow. Bye.